Australia is opposed to tariffs, is what Foreign Minister of Australia Penny Wong told reporters in Canberra in Australia. Let's listen into the full conversation here on The Hindu.
We are in a time of great change. I think what you see in Australia is a very reliable, stable partner that shares a great deal of your strategic objectives, which are what I describe as a peaceful, stable and prosperous region which all sovereignty is respected. So very happy to have a conversation with you. Obviously, one of the areas, there are lots of areas where there's strategic alignment, but one of the things that is most, I think, is so important in the relationship is the Indian diaspora, and I don't know if any of you were here when Prime Minister Modi visited, but it was really quite moving to see how many of the Australian Indian community came out to the various events. I'll leave you to comment on your bilateral relationships. I can tell you what Australia's position is. We don't support tariffs. We believe in the logic of the post-war economic order, that openness can enable growth, and our economy is a testament to that. Australia has developed our economy and advanced over these last decades because we have traded with the world in large part. And we also see trade engagement as being a critical enabler of peace. Obviously the Quad agenda, I think leaders and foreign ministers are working through how to prioritise and focus that, particularly with the new US administration. But one of the things we really appreciate is the perspective. I think one of the strengths of the Quad is that the different countries bring different perspectives to the region that we share. So Japan has a very clear view about North Asia and has a particular historical relationship with China, and it brings that perspective. You have obviously the US is such a great power, India, which is also so important and has a particular Indian Ocean perspective, and Australia, I think, is one of the great strengths of the Quad. I'm sure we'll talk through the gamut of the whole breadth of our relationship. We do a lot together. But I think fundamentally it comes back to this. We are at a time where the world the global order is being reshaped, the regional order is being reshaped, and we have a responsibility to influence that reshaping. And we want to work with India because we see a lot of convergence and alignment in the sort of outcomes we want from that reshaping. We see the attributes of the region that we want as being the shared objectives. So it's a very important time for us to keep working together, and I think I've been at Quad meetings, I've been at bilateral meetings between the Prime Ministers, and I think that is understood from the Prime Ministers down. I don't what's the matter for India, but perhaps if I make some observations about how we approach China, which may or may not be pertinent. China is a great power. China is asserting its interests as powers do, and particularly great powers. Some of those interests don't accord with Australia's interests, and so we know that there will be differences in the relationship. We also have areas where we can cooperate, and so when we talk about cooperate where we can, disagree where we must, and engage in their national interest, it describes a way of dealing with the relationship which recognises that there will be areas of difference and recognises there will be areas of cooperation, and also recognises the importance to both our countries for mature engagement. Now, that's the approach we take, and from my observation, it's the approach that India seeks to take. What we have, the education exports, so international students coming to Australia, is a very important part of our economy, and it's also a very important part of our bilateral relationships. and our regional relationships. My father was a Colombo Plan scholar to Australia, so I've known through my own life the importance of that experience of education and what that means longer term for our bilateral relationship. There have been various reforms in the education area. They are about trying to improve the quality of the educational offer. We have been really clear we will continue to welcome international students, but we have sought to improve the quality of that education and also to stabilise the numbers, which obviously spiked as a consequence of post-COVID.